Hello everyone, this is Joanna the Medium. Thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be your messages for the month of November 2018. I want to give you a couple of things before we move on to the messages. First and foremost, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to do this. My intention is always to give you helpful information that will allow you to know yourself deeply. So whether it is something to think about or something that will allow you to do things differently, or I give you a suggestion or idea, Spirit is here to help you to understand yourself better so that you can have freedom and more choices. Whatever signs you're listening to, whichever is your sign, sometimes you'll be guided to see a sign that doesn't belong to you, and you will find that the information there also applies to you. The way I work with my team is I try to bring information that is of most relevance to everyone in all life, including practical knowledge and practical advice. What I'm trying to say here is listen to your other signs as well as signs you normally wouldn't listen to but you are drawn to. Also, this month, for some reason, I recorded two messages for Gemini. I don't know how I did it. Never have done it before in the last 2.5, 3 years. And I've done them on the same day. It's almost as if I had amnesia. So you will notice that there is a Gemini reading 1 and Gemini message 2, video 1 and video 2. Listen to both. For some of you, both will apply. For some of you, one will apply over the other. I was asked, what do I do with this now? And the suggestion was given to me that I release both of them. So if you're a Gemini, consider this as a bonus month for you and see which one applies to you, perhaps both. And of course, for any messages that you are looking for, or any inside information on your personal life, these messages are general. You're welcome to connect with me. That information is down below for you. More than anything, I thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing and for sharing. I always am so grateful to be able to do this for you, and it is what brings me a great joy. So thank you so much. If you would like to comment how these messages apply to you, I would love to read them. I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself and see you soon. Let's move on. Hello, beautiful Aquarians. These are going to be your messages for the month of November 2018. For some of you, 2017 was a very important year. Somehow, I am seeing this, so it's going to mean something to some of you. And perhaps what I'm about to address with you today in 2018 somehow connects to 2017 or things that have transpired in 2017, and what I'm going to help you understand today will help you understand what happened yesterday. So let me just give you an idea of what I feel about you when I step into your shoes, when I step into your energy, in terms of let's put it that way, in terms of your energy and in terms of opportunities. There's a great sense of excitement. And the reason why I feel this sense of excitement is because I feel like I am about to be pushed out into the world. I feel like I'm about to be given birth to. But it's not giving birth to a baby or a child, which may be the case for some of you. This is more about you birthing a brand new self by shifting what you focus on, by shifting and changing your perspective about you. And there's this real sense of release that is about to happen. A release that is as a result of you emotionally expressing, emotionally unloading, emotionally releasing, emotionally emptying the cup, clearing the space and clearing the clutter. This is what I feel. The number 10, of course, to me always symbolizes completions. But it's not even endings. Endings to me come before completions, because we can physically end the situation, yet we may emotionally still be bound to it, which means we're not complete yet. In your case, for many of you, and I want to say almost 80% of you is what I'm being shown, will connect to this on some level. There is a tremendous release that is about to transpire or happen. But what I want to also say, to many of you that it is happening as a result of your hard work on the inner you. So it is not just happening out of the blue. It's not like, hey, we're here, there's a brand new surprise. Not very likely. This is going to be for those of you who have taken the time to observe yourself, particularly recently. And as a result, you will feel like there is a brand new you about to be birthed. I'm being asked to talk about the birth process for those of you who are mothers specifically. Labor, generally speaking, is not very comfortable. Some have it better than others. For some, labor is fairly okay, and for some, it's really, really uncomfortable. And uncomfortable is a mild way of putting it. What this is symbolizing to me is that the process of birthing isn't always an easy one. Therefore, if you have been feeling like you are stuck, like it's been painful, like your story has a lot of convoluted pieces in it, in other words, there's a lot of chaos in your life that you have been experiencing, know that it is all the process of you becoming the new you, whatever the new you means to you. But it does have to do with your personal foundation in the inner you. So the inner workings of you are shifting and changing, and as a result you may experience the labor pains, if you will. And that, of course, is a metaphor. All of this is leading you to a much greater stability and a lot more excitement in your life, that's for sure, but a lot more stability and a lot more reliability on your own strengths and your own resources. And this statement right away makes me feel that many of you rely on others in order to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel loved, to feel happy, to belong. Gazillion things that we often feel we don't have and we try to get from the outside. Some of these things may transpire in a form of an addiction, whether it is addiction to alcohol, sex, shopping, money, drugs, unhealthy relationship, addiction to work, whatever it is. When done out of excess, there's a deeper reason behind it. So it looks like I am connecting with those of you who are dealing with some form of addictions. And though for some of you, this is going to be regarding the regular addictions, if I may call it that way. For most of you, it is going to be emotional addictions. I guess all addiction is emotional, of course. But it's not just drinking, too much work. It's more than that. It's being addicted to perhaps feeling sorry for yourself. That's what came to me. All right. So that is in terms of how I feel when I step into your energy, when I step into your shoes. This is a very exciting time. And I feel many of you hearing this will understand what I'm talking about by the end of this year, 2018. Again, I'm being drawn to 2017. So for some of you, you might have been experiencing this turmoil, if you will, inside of you since 2017. And for some of you, it's even longer. I want to say your struggles are about to be over, though I don't want to overestimate this statement. In other words, there is no such thing as life without challenges. It doesn't exist, for we are here to be challenged in order to grow. But what I am saying is that majority of you, from what it looks like, are choosing to put some things to rest so that at least the challenges you will be facing down the road will not be as difficult as the ones you have had up until this point. And most of it, if not all of it, is going to be attributed to the hard work you have done internally on yourself. So congratulations for those of you who are feeling wonky, for you are changing and shifting in a very profound way. I decided to do these particular messages for Aquarius in slightly different way. So the cards I pulled had a different question attached to it. And I do this once in a while when I'm prompted by my team with specific energy. So long story short, the first card that I'm going to show you represents the theme. In other words, what it is that you are subconsciously trying to accomplish. What is your soul wanting to experience? What is it that you are after beyond what is visible to you? Clear your energy. It's brilliant. Why do I laugh? It's not because it's funny. When I do these things, it's just I feel on the top of the world. I wish I could explain the feeling to you. It's very hard. Point is, when I heard addictions and then this card showed up, about 5 minutes later, I always feel a lot of joy, because it's also confirmation for me that what I hear and see is actually being validated by something I can look at. So what is clearing energy? Well, clearing energy is just that, is you clearing your clutter. Whether it is clearing your psychological clutter, your emotional clutter, your physical clutter, or all of the above, spiritual clutter, you are being reminded that true happiness always, always, always stems first from within. And if you have a tendency to feel about yourself or think of yourself as a loser, as someone who's not good enough, as someone who is not lovable, as someone who is whatever it is, somehow less than, you will have tendencies towards outside validation and looking towards the outside for the sense of safety and security. We all know that truly cannot really happen, because the feeling of safety and security can only come from within us. And although many things contribute in our life to us feeling safe and secure, no one can really give it to us beyond the age of 5 or 6, which is when we are downloaded with a whole bunch of thinking which become our belief systems. So the month of November, but I want to say until the end of the year, is you're being urged to focus on decluttering your life. What are some of the things that prevent you from truly you experiencing being you? What are some of the things in your physical life that are standing in the way of you being the best that you can be? What are some of the things inside of you that limit you? What are the addictions that you are trying to satisfy? And what is the deeper meaning of your addiction? If you are a workaholic, what is it that you are trying to accomplish in terms of feeling that overworking gives you? In other words, what is it that you're trying to fill inside of yourself? Chances are you're filling some sort of a deep hole or deep something that's missing, and usually it leads us to things, well, that don't serve us at the end of the day. Also, for some of you, I feel like you need to do spring cleaning, even though in here, Western Hemisphere, at least in North America, we're in the fall. So for some of you, it's fall cleaning. For some of you, it's spring cleaning. There's a need for you to look at your internal clutter as well as clutter around you. If you are cluttered with too many things, if you are someone who has a tendency towards not throwing things away, being a hoarder to some degree, you may need to look at the deeper reasons why you choose to do that or participate in those behaviors. Chances are it's connected to safety and security first. So, what are some of the things that you need to look at? The message of Moonlight in reverse tells me that many of you have a tendency to overthink. You overthink things in order to manage your stressors, in order to manage your feelings, in order to manage your emotions. And when I ask more questions as to the reason why, you have protecting treasure in reverse. And what I'm being shown here is that a lot of your intellectual thinking or overthinking stems from you needing to feel safe and therefore you needing to protect yourself. If in fact you are one of those individuals who tends to bastardize things with your logical mind, notice if there is some emotional component that you are trying to run away from. Remember, the month of November is one of addressing your energy, addressing your addictions. If you are someone who is addicted to a certain behavior and you are analyzing it in a way that you sell that to yourself as normal, you might want to think about it again and see if there's a different way of looking at it. Whenever we have an addiction, which is an overuse of some sort of a behavior, it always stems from some sort of a lack on the other side of that equation. So for most of you, you are being urged to look at the concept of safety and security and how you manage that in your life in order to have it, in order to get it, and in order to keep it. If for some of you are taking extra precautions in making sure that you stay safe and secure, and in order to get that, you overcompromise yourself, or you overgive to yourself, or you overplease others, you may need to look at that as a condition that needs to be addressed in order to move away from. In other words, anytime we feel out of balance inside of ourselves, we will always try to find that balance by seeking something on the outside. And as we know, that rarely ever works long time. So I said, okay, in terms of this, what is it that needs to be addressed? Missing link is a message that basically says, what are you denying yourself? What are you not allowing yourself to have? What do you think you are missing? What is missing inside of you that you feel you need to hide from? A lot of what this is stems from inner conflict in terms of safety and security. Some of you come from homes where you needed to run away, or at least you wanted to run away because it was so toxic and chaotic. You couldn't wait to get the hell out of there. For some of you, you come from a very well-adjusted families, but something happened in your younger years, perhaps in preschool or in school, that made you feel like a second-class citizen. Perhaps you were bullied. Perhaps you were mistreated or treated unfairly on regular basis, and it created this inner conflict inside of you that now needs some resolution. So the missing link is all about letting go of unhealthy attachments that are creating your story, your foundation. I'm being asked to explain a little bit further. For some of you, the missing link may be that you deny yourself to be truly who you are, because you believe that if you are going to be you, people will not accept you, and therefore you're going to be alone. For some of you, is denying yourself your gifts and your skills, because for some reason you feel if you come out in the open, you will be shunned, you will be rejected, you will be discounted, you will be, pushed away. Definitely doesn't feel good. And if that's the case for you, you need to look at those things in terms of logically looking at it, but also allowing yourself to feel part of what that is for you and what it is that you're trying to accomplish. In other words, if you have been denying yourself things that are important to you for the sake of safety and security, it's time to look at what that is for you in terms of your inner self, your inner being, your inner work, in order to help you shift your foundation to a much more manageable levels in terms of emotional stability. For some of you, you deny yourself to be loved. Now, why on earth would anybody want to deny themselves being loved, right? Well, if you haven't been in that position, it's going to be hard for you to understand. But for some of you, I feel you'll get it. For one, if you have been raised in an environment or in a social setting where somehow being you was not good enough, you have developed an idea about you that is not good enough. If that is the case, you will deny yourself love, respect from other people. You will deny yourself the opportunity to be prosperous because there's something inside of you that says you can't, and it's rooted in a very faulty belief system. So logically and consciously, none of us walk around say, I'm going to deny myself being healthy. I'm going to deny myself being loved. I'm going to deny myself being prosperous. Of course, nobody does that. Who does that? Nobody does that. All of it is done on a subconscious level. But if you observe some of your patterns and you notice a repeating pattern when you are constantly struggling with something and it's lack of it, ask yourself the question, if there was something inside of me that was dictating this situation of lack, what would it be for me? And it's important for you to look at this not from the point of view of blame, but for the point of view of almost like being a personal excavator. You are being an archaeological finder. You are looking at the depth of you in order to come up with some amazing art, amazing pieces of information. So I would urge those of you who've been struggling with the idea of lack on whatever level, whether it is financially, whether it is emotionally. Perhaps you're in a love-less relationship and you choose to remain there because you believe deep inside that you cannot have more or you cannot have better. For me to say that's preposterous, it's very easy. For you, it's something that you have lived with for so long and you cannot see anything different. Because if you did, you wouldn't be there. That's as an example. So a lot of what I'm talking about stems from unhealthy values in terms of worth. I believe most people who have a physical appearance come into this physical body in order to be shaped and transformed through challenges. And we all have them. There is no shortage of it. However, if we can understand the deeper meaning of what the challenge is, if we can somehow get a glimpse of what is trying to be learned, then we will usually have an easier time going through it, because there will be a tendency to accept it much more and not to fight against it so much. And we already know what fighting against it does. Let's put it this way. If you are meant to experience lack in this lifetime, for whatever reason, let's say you chose to experience lack of money in this lifetime for a period, you will come into a family of various traditions, but whatever traditions are, there will be a communication that will take place that will help you have an understanding of life that is based in terms of lack. In other words, you would have grown up in a family that had not much of things. You will have grown up in a family to whom money meant evil. You may have grown up in a family where you had things, but it was always struggle, and it was talked about in terms of never having enough. Also, if you are born into a family where your identity somehow doesn't seem to be enough, you will begin to have the idea that you as an individual is not enough, and therefore there will be a lack inside of you. When we have that belief system, when we have a skewed way of seeing ourselves, it is how we attract our experiences that are corresponding to that vibration. In other words, if you are constantly struggling with finances, you might want to look into what is inside of you that is helping you attract this experience. Again, not from the point of blame, but from the point of responsibility to yourself, to know yourself better so that you can transition out of this experience and into a better one, into a new one. For the moment when you begin to see it clearly for what it is, It's as if to say the lesson has been learned. You can choose to move on. There's a brand new experience. Single-minded focus is just what the message says. First and foremost, 3 and 7 comes to a 10, which is completion. Brilliant. 3 is all about expansion. 7 to me is always a message or a number around enlightenment. So there's no question, many of you are going through challenges and difficulties and have been for quite some time, through which you will gain deeper awareness, which will allow you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. That's called growth. That's called expansion. And as a result of that, you will have moments of enlightenment when you will begin to understand yourself deeper because of the challenges you are going through. That will often put you in a position of ending one chapter and starting a new one, and that is always a great thing. For when we end a chapter in struggle, we often begin a chapter of abundance. So for many of you, this is a message of getting out of your own way. I heard a term given to me earlier, and the term was open door policy. So in terms of what that means in a business world, I know what that means. You know, your superior, your boss, your manager, your whatever, has open doors so that you can emotionally express whatever you need without the fear of being punished for it. Now, that was a very interesting message because that message also applies to you. So notice if your life is based on an open door policy. In other words, are you free to express your emotions without the fear of losing something in return? And if that's the case, you may need to look at it a little bit further. You may need to look at it closely and examine it for yourself. Look at your belief system. This is about training yourself to be different by examining your current thoughts, how those thoughts shape you now, and what you need to change in terms of your thoughts about you to have a different experience. The Wheel of Fortune that's being shown to me symbolizes, again, an end of a journey. For some of you, it's a physical, actual move. But for most of you, the wheel keeps on turning, things are moving on. It's an end of a chapter. There's no way around it. It's an end of a chapter. But it's a good one. Let me just see. So single-mindedness, single focus is, what do you pay attention to? What do you put your efforts into? Do you put your efforts into staying safe, but you are driven by the fear of not having it, and therefore you are going to compromise yourself many times in order to achieve that safety? Then all I can say is that your safety is fueled by your skewed idea about safety. In other words, what you're after is an illusion, because safety comes from within. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, yeah, but I don't have money and that's safety. Yes, I get all that. I totally get it. What I'm trying to say is this. If you have a very skewed view of yourself as your foundation, as your belief system, as I am this, or that, and I struggle. If that's your belief system, you will constantly prove yourself correct. So I want to say to many of you, I applaud you for diving deep in doing what is very often a lot of hard emotional work when it comes to growth. For those of you who are on a spiritual journey, which is all of us, by the way, you are very focused on growth. And in order for growth to happen, we need to stay determined to go through something sometimes that don't feel so good. And I'll tell you from my perspective and my experience, being aware is a brilliant thing. It's brilliant feeling. It's amazing. It offers its sets of certain freedom. But being aware takes hard work. It takes effort. It takes patience. It takes kindness towards you. It takes the need to see yourself from the eyes of compassion. And I've said this before, but I'm being asked to say it again. if God was to see you, and God would see you for you, not for who you think you are based on your ideas, what would God see? Whatever God means to you, whether it's Buddha, whether it's a star in the sky, whether it's Jesus, that makes no difference. But ask yourself that question, because when you do, you might come up with an answer that might be very refreshing. The vulture comes up. Again, I laugh because it's just like, to me, it's just amazing. Vulture is an energy that comes in order to balance out the ecosystem. In other words, the rotting pieces, the rotting components, things that don't serve us, things that are diseased, and I don't mean in a physical way, things that are creating chaos in our life. Vulture says, I will take care of it now. So for some of you, you may find yourself in a situation where something occurs quite rapidly in order for the balance to be restored. I'm being shown the proverbial tower. Many people are afraid of towers. I don't love towers, but I actually like towers. They're exciting. Tower to me means the current foundation as is, because it's faulty, because it's broken, is being torn down. And the reason for it is that once it's torn down, once the dust settles, a brand new, stronger foundation will be formed. And as a result of this far stronger foundation, we get to build our new life, our new castle, and the foundation can sustain it. So another way of saying this, if you are searching for abundance, if you are searching for love, if you are searching for happiness, but inside of you, you are somehow convinced that you are not enough, that is going to be a futile process. You will run into a wall on regular basis, and you're not going to understand why. You seem to be doing things differently, and the same thing keeps happening. You need to examine your thoughts. You need to examine your beliefs. You need to examine your value system about you, how you show up to the world in terms of what you believe about you. Because you will always attract to yourself what you believe most, subconsciously speaking. I ask my clients on a regular basis, do you believe you are worthy? Yes, of course they're going to say yes. And I'm saying, if you truly believe that, why are you stuck in this situation over and over and over? And it usually leaves a person going, huh. So I would invite you once again to look at some things that are not right, particularly those you have been struggling with, and allow yourself to dig deeper. If you have sacrificed your own truth and your own integrity because you're trying to stay safe, time has come when we are moving into much more empowered space of being, where you're able to shift away from that way of thinking. I asked for guidance, and 10 of Cups showed up. In terms of guidance, the message is make things right in your family. In other words, for most of you, whatever belief system you carry stem from family. You are being urged to make peace with what was, whether it's through forgiveness, whether it's through deeper understanding, whether it's through forgiveness of yourself for yourself. That's the biggest one, usually the most difficult one. Whatever it is, look at your origin, because your belief systems come from your origin, and see how you can make it right for you by letting go of the past. I hear someone saying to me, well, that's not easy. Life is not easy. That isn't the question. Just because it's not easy doesn't mean it cannot be done. Also, when things are easy, they fairly are felt as valuable. That's just human tendency. If we do not put effort, if we have no investment in it, we don't attach as much value to it. So that's something for you to think about. And last but not least, Ace of Swords to me symbolizes brand new awareness. Need I say more? I do wish you best of luck. I hope this was helpful. I would love for you to comment, generally at the end of the month, because that's usually when things make sense to you. Always treat this as guidance and look at it perhaps a couple times in the month of November and see where this guidance can apply in your life. I always ask Spirit to give you what you need the most in order to evolve into your highest potential. That is always my greatest wish. I will never focus on predictions first, because to me that's just not me. I want you to feel a sense of power where you believe you are worth everything. Not from the point of view of ego, but from the point of view of inner awareness of who you truly are. And every single one of you, every single one of us is absolute power. We just have no awareness of it most of the time. With that said, I want to thank you for allowing me to do this for you. Again, if you would like to comment, I would love to read it. For private sessions to see about your life, that information is down below for you. Thank you again. I wish you best of luck, and I look forward to see you soon. Take care.